Welcome to the Pool Nation podcast, where it's all pool talk. And we ain't talking about netting and jetting or splashing and dashing. We're talking about becoming a nation of pool pros. We talk about the latest products, trends, and training in the pool industry. Now let's welcome your host, with over a decade of industry insider experience and still the reigning champion of Marco Polo, Edgar De Jesus, and his co-host, John J.J. Flawless, the fastest netter in the West, and Zach the Pool Boy Nicholas.
Welcome, everyone, to the Pool Nation Live podcast. I am your host, Edgar De Jesus, and yes, I am the reigning champion of Marco Polo, along with John J.J. Flawless, the fastest netter in the West, the famous Zach, the Pool Boy Nicholas, and we're in studio today, so we are with the Cannonball King himself, Mr. Spider.
Hey, we're out here.
There we go.
Zach without the beard looks a lot younger.
I know. I've been taking some de-aging medication in lieu of buying a truck.
In lieu of
So, you know.
John, that truck is making him young. Which, by the way, John, did you get his message that it was the same truck that he tried to buy that they wouldn't give him a discount on? They discounted it $8,000. So he made it back home and he was a little bit upset. So,
oh my gosh.
Yep,
Yeah,
so.
I was pretty mad.
Yep.
Mhm.
So anyways, today we are talking to Doreen King and we are talking to the real pool boy, Nathaniel.
Zach? Or
Well,
Nathaniel.
yeah, that's right. I
Two
should call
names.
you. What are we going to call you today so we don't mess this up?
I'm Zach.
You're Zach?
Yeah.
Okay, so there you go. So today we're going to be talking about the future of Pool Nation education. We're going to be talking about the Women's Summit. We're going to do a deep dive into education with Doreen here. But before I do that, we want to welcome everyone to our live podcast, a podcast where it's all pool talk. And we ain't talking about netting and jetting or splashing and dashing. We're talking about becoming a nation of pool pros. And yes, we will talk about the latest products, trends, and training in the pool industry. But before we get started today, I want to thank our visionary partners for this podcast, Ultimate Pool Tools, the SPPA, Blu-ray XL, Aquastar Pool Products, Natural Chemistry, Raypack, Heritage, and Hayward Pool Products. We want to thank them for their continued support. Zach, how you doing?
Doing pretty good. I got a new job.
You got a new job?
Yeah, at Summer Moon.
At Summer Moon.
So I'm going to moonlight as a barista.
You're going to moon
with my pool work.
with the pools.
Yeah.
John, that means that we're hooked up with free coffee,
That would be awesome.
right?
Yeah, that is awesome.
Absolutely would be awesome. That's what I'm hoping Jaden would eventually start working at Summer Moon. That is the hookup.
He needs a hookup.
He's too young.
Yeah, we hire 17.
He's 16 going on 14,
Okay.
so it'll be a couple of years. Right, John?
Yeah, exactly.
So I could just see how that would go if I show up to get a cup of coffee. He'll get even with me at
Oh,
some
yeah.
point for something that I've done.
That's a bad
And
idea,
it's
actually,
just-
now you think about it.
It's bad news.
Yeah.
He'll
Bad
get you
idea.
a really bad espresso shot.
Yeah, yeah. Mr. Flawless, what's going on? It's weird not having you in studio, by the way, because you were just here last week and you're not here this
Yeah.
week.
I was going to say that was part of my opening, that it sucks that I'm not there. I feel like I'm on the moon or something like that, like NASA or contacting me from a different time. But I don't know. I can't remember the last time I did remotely. And it is a little off, but I knew I couldn't miss this no matter what. It's been a crazy week for us. Very crazy, especially with the heat. And today, or this week, actually starts palm tree season, where we get a bunch of the little flowers and crap and stuff that gets into the pools. But it's been interesting to say the least. But when Edgar told me that we were having this podcast and Doreen, you guys were coming down to do this, I was very excited, because the people that had the opportunity or the chance to be able to take some of your classes and to learn some of the next level stuff that you have to offer, they get it. But it's hard to really put it into words and perspective for a lot of our listeners, because it's something that most pool pros, the majority of them, just haven't had the opportunity to experience before. So until you've actually been a part of it, or until you've had the opportunity to listen to you teach one of your courses, they just don't see really what they're missing. So hopefully today, my goal is to really land that message so that people can understand the importance of taking advantage of this, because this isn't something that you can miss and then hopefully you can just take next week or the week after. This is I wouldn't necessarily say a once in a lifetime thing, but it's an opportunity that you should seize upon, especially as a business owner, because these are types of skills that not only you can apply in your workplace, but, you know, in life, period, how to deal with people and day-to-day crap that we all deal with as human beings. It just makes you a better person, makes you more prepared for it. I'm really stoked to talk about the new classes that you guys have to offer. and that you're going to be putting on for us at the Pool Nation Conference, and then also what we're going to be doing at the women's event too. That's something that we're looking forward to as well. Thank you so much for taking the time to come out here. Really appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day. I know it's not easy for everybody, so thank you so much.
Thanks for having me back. I have to say, I'm John being my new spokesperson. He's going to travel with me to every conference I ever facilitate. He's going to introduce me and get everybody ready. So I love that.
He's the hype man.
I like it.
I am the hype man.
You are the hype man.
Dude, when I'm passionate about something,
I
and
know.
Oh, yeah. If
I don't care that I don't care, it's evident, right?
You're
or if I
hired,
don't
John.
think it's important. Thank you.
Hey, I do want to give a shout out to everybody that's on, and we do have our loyal people. I actually have people texting me going, hey, Edgar, there's no sound on Instagram. Facebook, YouTube is fine, but Instagram is not. And then, of course, leave it to Michelle, John. She goes, I'm pretty sure what they're saying is that everyone who tuned in is amazing. So
That's exactly right.
there you go. See? And she goes, and now they say Michelle is amazing. I love this show. So big shout out to you, Michelle.
She is amazing, by the
She
way.
is.
We
she
do
is.
have sound on the other platforms, though, if y'all would like to go check those out.
Yep.
I'm working on it, though.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
we
Spider's
confirmed
working on
that
it.
Facebook has sound.
Yep.
Instagram is the only one that doesn't.
Yep. No worries.
I blame Instagram.
Yeah, me too.
It's always
Instagram's been-
Instagram's fault.
Yeah, they've been pretty shoddy lately. I'm not happy with them, but totally different story. Doreen, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Edgar. How are you?
I'm doing great. We're excited to have you join us today.
I'm excited to be here. I have to say, after the boot camp, I just saw the energy that you guys have, and anything I can do to help, I'm on board for sure. Thank you.
We appreciate it. We appreciate all your help, all your feedback. For us, the education is a passion, and for you to come in and go, well, let's level this whole thing up to a whole different level. We definitely appreciate that, and we're excited about it. We want to talk about a lot of those things today. I do have to tell you, and I do have to tell John, we turned on the new website for the Women's Summit. We said that we were going to announce it tonight that the website is open. There's already 14 women that have registered, and
Oh,
we haven't even
wow.
announced that the registration is open.
I was telling you when we were talking about it at the live, I wasn't kidding. When I said it, I meant it at the last women's event. We've had a few of them now, and the most recent one that we had at Heritage was such a hit. We always had enthusiasm from boot camps and from any kind of program or educational classes that we teach, where we get our pool pros that come up and they're very positive and they give us feedback, good and bad, and suggestions, and they're excited about what they learned and how to apply it, and then also asking for the next one. But we never get as much hype as we did after the women's event. Every single woman that attended was pumped and ready to rock and roll. They were chomping at the bit, telling us we need dates for next year so that we can plan ahead and we can make sure that we're there and that we can join. And
Wow.
I'm not kidding. And we're not even thinking about that right now. And we were talking, we're like, dude, we got like, that's a year. That's
Yeah.
a year from now. We got a lot of things in work, but we had to turn it up, and Edgar started planning for it, and we started talking about and hashing it out between us. And here we are. And I'm not surprised at all. It's pretty crazy. It's going to fill up quickly. So don't wait.
Absolutely. Don't wait. We already have people from Canada signed up, people from
Wow.
Florida. We're ready to roll.
Women are planners, guys, just so you know. We need to have advance notice. Nathan, because I'm always telling him, what's the plan? What's the plan?
Who's Nathan?
Oh, Zach, sorry.
Here's what I love about the women that we work with, and that is that if they say that they're going to do something, like they say, we're going to do it, and that's it. You don't have to worry about it anymore. It's done. They're going to do it. They'll be there. Man, some of these guys is just like, yeah, we'll be there. And then you start, and it's so hard to work with them. So always the Women's Summit is a highlight, and I get really excited for it. So anyways, let me get through some housekeeping notes here, and then we'll get started. So obviously talking about it, we just opened today the registration for the Women's Summit, which is going to be August the 29th and 30th. So if you want to check out the classes that we're doing, you can want to get any information, go to poolnation.com. You'll see a big button on there that has the Women's Summit. You can click on it. You can get information on there. You can register for the event. It's going to be at Heritage headquarters in McKinney, Texas, which is a very nice...
Great headquarters. Can I just
Right?
say, I was so impressed.
It's awesome. And then we are going to be having a networking event that Thursday night, which is going to be fun and epic. So for all the women out there that want to attend, go to poolnation.com. If you guys have any info, questions, just feel free to reach out. The other thing that we wanted to talk about is the Pool Nation Spotlight and Insights. The next one is coming out on Monday. So if you have not signed up for that, go to Pool Nation. You'll see a picture of John like this.
Oh, I love it.
You like that?
There it is.
You like that? The grin. You got to do the little cheesy grin that you do.
Did you just say cheesy?
Yeah, you go like this. That's what you look like. Have you seen the picture on the? Have you? No, it's not that one. It's not
No,
that one.
I don't know.
No, actually, I have the one where you're going like this.
Oh, no.
That's the one I have for you.
Don't let me talk about the ones I have about you.
I was going to say, watch it, Edgar.
Yeah.
I've always made sure, Scott, that there's nothing good about me. I've always, on the last photo shoot, they wanted us to like, John, you lay here. I'm like, no, that's not going to happen. No.
I gotta say, that was the first time
No.
you actually said no
Nope.
to do something,
Nope.
right? You're
I was
usually
like-
the one that goes out and says, hey, look,
Same
let's
thing.
do it. Let's do it. You're the extrovert. And Zach and I are usually like, no, we're not going to do that. But we end up buckling and doing it. Sometimes I put my foot down, but you were always gung-ho and ready to rock and roll. But at that photo shoot, that made you uncomfortable. And you're like, absolutely not. I'm not going to do it.
John's laying like this on the floor, and Ethan's like, Edgar, you come and lay right here on his chest, and Zach, you change. I'm like, I draw the line, my friend. I
Yeah.
have a
Is
line,
that
and
what
it's
it
this
was?
one.
Okay. Yeah, I would have said no as well. I didn't hear what he was asking
We-
for, but I was already feeling pretty uncomfortable laying down the way I was laying and in the position I was in. And hopefully those pictures don't make the cover or make it into the magazine. Megan, if you're listening,
I was going to say,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah,
I've
let's
seen
not.
those pictures. They're phenomenal.
Oh.
Innovative, creative, like, wow.
Yeah, John's riding a little unicycle.
Quick update. Instagram's working fine now.
All right,
Yay.
there we go. Thank you, Spider. Appreciate that. So anyways, everybody looking to be able to get into the Spotlight Insight, go to the website. John will pop up with his cheesy little grin. Just enter your email address on there and you will be registered. You'll get that when we send that out next Monday. We do have a promo with Aquastar, $300 off of a pump, and they'll send you actuators and valves as well directly from them. So check it out, sign up there. And then the next thing that we want to talk about is the Pool Nation Conference is November 9th, 10th, and 11th at the PSPO Expo in Dallas, followed by the Pool Nation Awards, which is going to be the night of the 13th. So are you guys going? Scott, you going? You going? You
I'll
going?
get it. Yeah, absolutely.
He'll be out in college, right?
That's right. He'll be in college then.
Sadly, yes. I need the education so I can get a job to pay for a truck.
So you could buy the $100,000 truck?
Yes, correct.
I think we need to talk to the real pool boy, John, to just buy the truck, right?
somebody has to make the decision.
Somebody, right? Because Zach, I'm telling you that you're driving everybody crazy by not buying the truck
Gotta
because
buy
you've
the
been at it for a year.
Uh-huh.
So you need to buy a truck.
I know. I'll try. Once I finish my college, I'll have sufficient money to buy a good truck.
So by the time you're done with
Yeah.
college,
Yeah,
so you'll be working through college and plus what you have saved up.
correct. Yeah. And by then I'll be ready to decide. Might be a few years, but eventually.
Which I tell you, John, that if you sit down with Nathan and you, because John's this big retirement and kind of that, he's that kind of guy. So John, you would have a field day with Nathan
Yes.
figuring out that he's already got, what do you have already, a 401? And what do you have?
I'm trying to open a 401k.
He's
yeah.
trying to over.
So wait, I have to tell this.
Tell the
John.
story. Yeah, John.
Okay, so we go to the bank. He turns 18 and take him to the bank so we can go ahead and just transfer his account over to him. And so I'm just there to sign the document, just to say I don't need him to be attached to me anymore. And I'm just watching the show, and he's bantering back and forth for about 20 minutes in this kind of small office. He gets everything done, and they ask the proverbial question, whatever it is. So is there anything else I can help you with? And I immediately think he's going to say no. And he says, well, I saw the Merrill Lynch office in the front, and I'm wondering, can I get some information on savings and 401k accounts for retirement? And she throws her head back in full laughter and then looks at him and says, oh my gosh, you're serious. And he's looking at us like we're crazy. Like, why? Of course I'm serious. He goes, I'm already behind. He goes, what do you mean you're behind? He's like, we did a study in my financial literacy class. If you're 17 years old versus 18 years old, you lose $60,000.
difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. And they were laughing at me.
And by the time we were done, he had an appointment with Merrill Lynch, and now he's got a Merrill Lynch account and like an LA bank account, and he's doing trades on stock. And yeah, I want to be like him when I grow up.
That's amazing. Just imagine if we
Right.
did that when we were younger, right? There was a saying, and this is completely off topic. As you get older, your mindset changes in the way you view the world and the way you perceive it. But somewhere I was reading or seeing something that said, would you take $10 million or $50 million right now, have a chance to go back 30 years or 40 years and restart your life? And I was like, if I was younger, I'd be like, oh, I'm taking the money. You know what I mean? If I had a chance to go back 30, 40 years, imagine how different your life would be knowing what you know, right? Because you actually understand it. And it's what we try to teach our children to get them to understand these lessons, the hard lessons we had to learn going through it because we were stubborn and didn't get it as our parents were trying to teach us or bring down that knowledge, or they just didn't know and understand it. So to have a kid to have that type of head on their shoulder is quite impressive. And I have 4 beautiful kids, and they're all amazing, but 3 of them are dumb shits when it comes down to money. And I don't even want to begin. But my daughter, right, on point. She's the oldest. And my daughter, my first kid, I was very hard on her. I'm pretty hard on all my children, but in a good way, right? But with her, and especially her being a woman, and I was just trying to instill some values and stuff into her, whatever, and she just turned out to be just a beautiful creature.
Oh.
She's like a spitting image of all the lessons that I tried teaching her when she was younger and everything like that, and she just lives them and breathes them right now as 21 years old, and she makes me so proud. But like I said, my boys, oh my God.
He's got no words.
We're unique.
I can't. Yeah. It's like, I can't tell you how many times we had a Capital One transfer because we went negative because we had a Postmate McDonald's.
I actually asked, oh my gosh, I'm sorry about that.
Some obscure McDonald's order for like $300.
That's crazy. I actually asked Nathan like about 2 months ago, do you want to go to the future or do you want to go to the past if you had a choice? I go, and if you went back, would you go? And do you remember what you said, Nathan?
No.
He's like, the day that Bitcoin went on. Yeah, I would go back when Bitcoin was like whatever the cost was. And I was like, God, that's not what I was thinking at all.
Look, that's huge in the cryptocurrency.
Like huge.
I've been doing it for many years, right? And any free time I have, other than learning or working or doing stuff like that, I'm always on my phone with cryptocurrencies. I'm a lot of different projects, but back in 2017, 2016, I completely faded Bitcoin as well. And I remember when it was less than $1,000 at the time when I first got into it. And I thought, there's no way it's going to go any higher. I played that whole thing. And then sure as hell, here we are.
Yeah.
Look at it now. And
I saw one interview.
hindsight is 2020.
Yeah. I did see a video where I guess if you would have bought Amazon when he first went public and you would have invested just $1,000, today you'd have $2.4 million. Just because
it's the same story with like Apple.
Yeah.
If you, instead of buying their first phone, the iPhone, if you would have just put that money into their stock, you'd be a millionaire by now. But now I know that.
Yeah.
If we see emerging companies and stuff like that, or we see the future, and even as early as Tesla, I even knew it, but I forgot about it. When Tesla first came out, I said, this is it. And I was going to do it, but I don't even know what the hell was going on. But my mind went off somewhere else doing something, and I missed it. And it's like, whatever. There you go.
You guys do need to get together. And
Yeah,
talk
these
about
two. Oh,
this.
you two. Yeah, you two get together and forget it. They're
I'm a freak about money.
Yeah,
I like to make it. So
that's all he talks about these days.
Anyways, everybody, welcome to the Money Nation podcast.
I guess
today
so.
we're
I like
talking
that.
money. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So, any money advice you got for everybody out there? You have any money advice? Get a 401k early.
Don't
That's it.
buy a truck. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. Start as soon as you can was something that every economics class I took talked about. Like, you get exponentially more money if you just start like a year earlier. So yeah, just start as soon as you can. I would recommend.
Compounding interest is a real thing, and it's a beautiful thing.
I know, exactly.
And it's crazy how it trends towards the end. Just like,
It goes-
it's
yeah.
on that back
It's
end. That
exponential.
yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So,
If you're young, I would start some retirement account like as soon as you can.
so let me ask you a question. Knowing what you know, John, you ready? This one's for Zach. So knowing what you know, would you go out and buy an $80,000 truck
No.
at the age of 36?
No.
And what would you do?
I would not buy a truck.
And what would you do
I
with
would-
the money?
I would probably invest it somewhere. Do I need a new truck?
You do not need a new truck.
Okay.
Trust me, you do not need a new truck. Now, do you want a new truck? That's a whole different
Sure.
thing. But do you need a new truck? No. Which, by the way, this is a whole joke with Zach because John's one of those. He works hard. He makes his money. If he's going to buy something, forget it. It's it.
Right.
Like, we're done. We're not having this discussion. It's like he shows up with the shiny truck. John, they went over to look for a work truck, and John showed up at my house with a $120,000 truck. He's like, Mama wanted it. We wanted it. We're done. We got it. We're done. It's it. And Zach has been at this for a year now.
It's the research.
And
It's all
I'm
about
sorry.
the
What can I
research.
say?
So we have a big running joke. So John tells him, just hurry up and buy the damn truck. Like, you work hard, you do. And I'm like, Zach, let's talk to the financial planner. Let's figure out what we're going to do with the money. So we mess with him back and forth. So
That's why he's
Look,
confused, guys. That's exactly what's happening.
It is probably, but see, look, we're in a different stage in our life. I'm at the point where I want to enjoy the fruits of my labor, right?
Right.
Over these years, I've done the work. When it's time, my ticker, I have many more days behind me than in front of me. It's time for us to enjoy a little bit. We've been busting our ass for many moons.
Amen.
All right. So now that we've been going at this for 20 minutes and we're sidetracked as usual here, let's get
But
into
is it
the
sidetracked? That's
Oh,
the whole
no.
point of us.
This
doing
is the
what we're
Money
doing,
Nation
right?
podcast.
This is
It's about
yeah.
education, right? And it's
Yeah.
about financial security and understanding, right? So
Yeah.
you know your numbers. This is all about it and a little bit about life. And sometimes we forget about these things. These are important. And if you're not making money, chances are you're not as happy as you could be, probably. You know,
Yeah, too
it
happy.
doesn't buy happiness for sure. And I'm a believer in that, but it sure as hell makes it easier for you. I'm no fool.
Yeah. So, hey, I want to give a couple shout outs out here. Jeanette, how are you? Big shout out to you. Our boy Todd, which I was talking to, Todd from Ripple Effect, pools out there, looking to move out to Arizona. Our boy Zach is on here. Zach, what's going on, bro?
Welcome. Thank you.
He kind of went quiet. All he's giving us is a laughing emoji, and that's it. So a big shout out to Janie, Cheryl, what's going on? Jay Breckfield, brother, big shout out to you out there. Ensenada Pools, Nath Portillo. Hello, I'm from Azul Custom Pools. Big shout out to you, brother, out there. And Todd is saying John's pool business took over is what ended up happening. All right, let's get this party started, Doreen, because we actually came to talk about education and work.
I think we've started actually. When you think about driving results with accountability, it all ties together. So
Yeah.
I think we've started already.
So what I wanted to do is I want to start really quick, and between me, Zach, and John, we're going to go through the schedule that we have for the Women's Summit. And then what I want to do is I want to talk about some of the classes that you're going to teach there. And then after that, what I want to do is I want to talk a little bit about the Pool Nation Conference and do a deep dive, because you're really helping us elevate that and take that to a whole different level there. So before we get started, I want to talk about the Women's Summit. The first class or the first seminar is going to be Alicia Stevens, and she's going to kick us off with Breaking Boundaries, a journey, a discovery, passion, and making a difference.
I love that title. Can I just say, when I read the title, I was like, I want to go to that class. I've got to hear her talk.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, our next class is going to be with Leanne, and she's going to talk about accountability can help you like drive results, performance metrics, and stuff like that.
After that will be Carrie David with Heritage. The title is Maintaining a Company Culture in a Time of Growth. And Carrie will be discussing the importance of culture and how culture fosters success through engaging dialogue, employee resource groups, and core values.
Then after that is with Doreen King, and she's going to talk about emotional intelligence and effective leadership and how emotional intelligence can enhance the effectiveness of leadership and how it's important to leadership.
Gotcha. The next one is going to be Stacy Gearhart, Being Your Authentic Self. And I talked to her, John, today about this one, and I'm really excited about this one. She's going to talk about her journey, and she's a GM for Raypac, so she's amazing. And so she's going to talk about, obviously, her journey to get to where she's at and really talk about rising to the position of general manager at Raypac and leader in the pool and spa service industry. She'll share her journey of embracing her authentic self in a male-dominated field and how staying true to her values, building confidence and fostering resilience enabled her to break barriers and achieve her growth. So excited about that one.
That sounds really exciting.
Yeah. And then after that, we're going to be hosting the networking event that night. So that'll be fun. We haven't talked about what that is yet, but that's going to be a fun event.
And then on Friday, we're going to start off the day with our dear friend, Jamie Novak, and she's going to be teaching a class which is called Speak Up, Stand Out, a public speaking workshop. And she'll share best practices for presentations and public speaking, improve your skills and confidence with creativity, storytelling, and communication techniques.
And then finally is the seminar with Tracy Beyer. She's going to be doing Breaking Up with Burnout, which is learning practical strategies to prevent burnout, achieve work-life balance, and sustain long-term success, which I think is a very useful seminar.
I need that one.
I know.
Yeah.
As soon
That's
as
the
this-
one that immediately I was telling that to Scott. This is the one, right? Yeah, you got to take this one.
And she's a life coach. So I'm excited. I'm really
This is
excited.
exciting.
It's a lot of great stuff.
Yeah,
so,
it sure is.
John, just to let you know, we're going to be sitting in this thing watching the whole thing. So,
Dude, I'm absolutely going to be trying to hear every single word from every single teacher in here. And I know I keep saying it, and I'm going to say it again, but those of you listening, you would look and you would think first words might be out of your mouth as, what does this have to do with pools? It has everything to do with pools, right? Because it has to do with life and building yourself as an individual. Not only are you going to now better yourself as a business owner and in running your company, but you're able to be a better person and be able to function better in life and be able to get things outside of work. This is all genius stuff here. And these are the types of courses that I wish I had growing up. Again, we talk about these lessons and these things and stuff like public speaking for sure. People have a really hard time with that. And we talk about how difficult that is. And Jamie being able to teach that and do that class. I remember her last class and I was trying to listen to everything I possibly could. And she's amazing when it comes down to grammar. And we were talking about how to properly write emails and how to word things. And then we had a discussion in the room and everybody was saying, after a period, do you do 2 spaces or 1 space after a period, right? And the proper...
That is so funny.
Debate.
So
funny.
what is it, Nathan? 1 space?
It's
or...
1 space.
John, is it 1 space or 2 spaces?
Well, technically, the correct way is 2 spaces after the period,
That's
apparently.
right.
But I only do 1 space, but I didn't know that.
So you always
And
do 1 space. So you finish the
always do
word
1 space.
space, period.
Yep.
So it's
What about you?
It's
No.
always been 2.
You do too.
However, I researched it because we had a huge debate about this. It's always been 2 until
Because of typewriters.
because of typewriters. But now in the new way of communicating, it's literally
It's
supposed to be 1
space.
So
But-
John's been right the whole time.
So you finish your last letter,
Right.
Right.
you hit the space bar,
No.
and then you hit the period?
No.
So no space. So no
Period,
space.
then space.
Period, then space.
Letter,
Okay.
period, space.
I'm like, wait a second, 1 space. So you're
No.
doing space and then.
So the question is between the period and the next letter, it's supposed to be 2, but no, they've transitioned now to 1. The new generation has changed the rule.
Nobody ever told me in high school it was
Well-
2 because I always ever.
Oh, every
done
typing
1.
class was 2.
So now we know. So it's 1.
Yeah. I think with typewriters, it was just to make it look good. But now it doesn't matter because it's online. It's on a computer or something. So now it looks the same.
Just to let you know, the other Zach would have joked and would have been like, "What's a typewriter?" Just to give you a heads up.
Okay. Noted.
The last presentation is actually going to be Francine Gonzalez, A Life in Aquatics, from cleaning pools to CXO. And Francine will share her story, and it's actually amazing. So she was going to go into the medical field over 20 years ago, and she worked in aquatics. And so the company loved her so much that they used to fly her out every summer to kind of come and work. And so what ended up happening, she ended up not going into medical school. She studied biology. She stayed in the aquatics, and all of a sudden, John, you're going to love this. She started working for Great Wolf Lodge. She started working for a lot of aquatics and has to do with a lot of the designs of the water parks and the
wow.
safety and all that kind of stuff. And really has spent her entire career, and she sits on all these amazing boards with regards to safety and all that kind of stuff. Just an amazing story for her to share, and looking forward to hearing about that one.
Fascinating.
So
Again, and I know I'm extending this podcast much longer than you probably should be with all my commentary and talks, but look, I hear the word aquatics. That's such a beautiful word. Why aren't we in aquatics? I'm an aquatic specialist. I think we should embrace that word, and I think we should use aquatics. I think it's much sexier than
the Aquatic Nation.
the aquatic. There you go.
I see a rebranding of sorts.
There you go.
Yeah, but
The Aquatic
I'm in
Nation,
aquatics.
formerly Pool Nation.
People always go, I'm proud as hell servicing pools. And sometimes I talk to some people in the past, not so much currently, but it's, oh, I do pools, right?
Right.
You're afraid you do. Dude, yeah, I do pools. I love pools. And if you're not proud of it, you're not doing pools, because in order to do it, there's a level of knowledge and understanding that you have to have.
And skill, yeah.
For sure. But it does sound, yeah, I do aquatics.
I think that's
You
a
do
culture
It does,
shift.
right? It has a certain ring to it,
Yeah.
and it rolls off the tongue really well. And I
It's
think
a
I'm
new
going to
culture
update
shift.
my business cards and my webpage and even Instagram.
I
We're in
don't- I
aquatics,
don't-
baby.
I don't even explain. People are like, what do you do? I'm like, I'm just a pool guy. It's the easiest thing to explain to people what it is that we do, John.
Yeah, I do
There's so
too.
many things.
Yeah, I'm a pool dude.
I'm a pool
Yep,
guy.
for sure.
So, anyways, so Doreen, we wanted to bring you today. We wanted to talk about some of this amazing content and some of the content that you've helped us develop and the track that you've put us on with. No, you guys need this, you need that. And just recently, I mean, we said, hey, let's go really quick through
Yep.
these 2 little things. And we spent an hour doing a deep dive into it and all that kind of stuff. So I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the courses. And the first one that you guys are going to teach there is the Driving Results Through Accountability class. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that class because I keep hearing that's an amazing class. I haven't taken it yet. So can you tell us a little bit about that one?
Yeah, before I get into that, just as I'm listening to all these course offerings, I know that we talked, like we said, oh, just go quick little connect, but we talked for a good hour or so. And I kept throwing you all these ideas because there's so many good skills and knowledge required to be able to create culture, right? And so when you think about accountability, you're also talking about culture. And so when you were talking earlier, John, about how this really does matter in the business of pools, it's because we're talking about culture. And so when I think about culture, that means any type of purpose that we have is really the why we do what we do. And then when you think about the strategy, all the technical, all the strategic things that we have to do, that's the how. We have to be able to have these things in place in order to do the how. But culture, it's the way that you're going to get the results that you want in your life, either individually or professionally. So what I love about the Driving Results Through Accountability class, this is one of my favorites. When I think about all the course offerings I have, each one of them is my baby, right? And there's certain ones that you just have that are a little bit special. This one has been personally for me something that's driven individual results in my personal life as well as my professional life. So I've known this content for a little over 18 years. It's really a new take on accountability than we've ever seen before. In the past, when you think about the dictionary definition of accountability, it's who's responsible for failing to achieve some sort of result. And this content really focuses on not the proactive, reactive, or the reactive approach to who failed. More importantly, who's responsible for achieving the result? Very proactive look. So it takes a very positive approach to accountability, not negative. So we throw away that old definition and we come up with a new definition of accountability. But before we can actually embrace that new definition, which is taking a personal choice to rise above whatever circumstances we have, to make sure that the desired result we want is the one that we're going to achieve. And we have to understand human behavior just a little bit. What we do is we dive a little bit into victim cycle behaviors. So I want you to think about a result you've really wanted in your life. For example, Zach, your truck. Mm-hmm. This is a desired result that you have. Yeah. And you either be like John and you go out there and get the desired result that you want to have, or you fall into what we call, sorry, Zach.
No, it's a little more complicated than you're making it.
Victim cycle behaviors, right? And the victim cycle behaviors are things like, well, I'm just going to wait and see if I can get a little bit more off that price. Or, well, I really didn't like the sales guy, so therefore, I guess that's not the right person I'm going to buy the car. These victim cycle behaviors occur. And what that does is it gets you an undesired outcome. You leave without the truck, or you don't lose the weight you want, or you don't have the house that you want to have, or the job that you want to have, or the business that you want to grow. Because it's just human nature for us to fall below what we call below the line behaviors, all those things. I'm going to finger point and say it was someone else's job, or I'm going to talk about all the reasons why I can't. That's what happens, unfortunately, when we feel we either don't have control of something or when we feel we're victims of some circumstances that came our way. The economy would be a good example of that. And so there's this really thin line between below the line thinking and above the line behaviors. And so that thin line, I often tell people to look at that thin line, and it represents the difference between companies failing or succeeding, companies that work really hard but just can't get the results they want and they go out of business, or do you want to lose that weight but you don't. So this is what we want to do, is we want to recognize this behavior. So we're going to teach you, what do the behaviors look like and why do they exist, through fun, engaging activities. So John, I think you saw the last time with our training, we don't just sit there and talk the whole time to everybody, right? We get everybody out of their seats, and then we had them working. We give some skills role play in a very safe environment. We have people step outside their comfort zone just a little bit so they learn and grow and develop. And that's how you'll exponentially get better results. So then the next part of that class is around the steps of accountability. See it, own it, solve it, do it. Very rarely do we look and see something, examining the realities of a situation. We typically just start solving a problem. And what we need to do first before we try to solve a problem is to really examine why this situation exists, and then take full ownership. And once you take full ownership, then you can have the right solutions to the problem. And at the end of the day, we want you to take action so you get your desired results. So Zach, see it, own it, solve it, do it. You can get your truck.
Now,
Okay, I guess I'll try. I should probably go to this class. Probably be helpful.
And I'll say, honestly, this class has helped me both, like I said, personally and professionally. I've seen our team go from not receiving the results we wanted as a company to actually getting on stage and getting awards because the results were there. For me personally and professionally, I've lost weight based on see it, own it, solve it, do it. We adopted 2 children based on the fact that we had our own victim cycle situation occur. And once we really examined that reality and made it like a real cognizant choice to do something different, we followed the steps of accountability. And here we are 18 years later with 2 children. So it's something, honestly, that not just from work perspective, but business and life will benefit you for sure. So one of my favorite classes.
I have a question. So this is all like theoretical, right? A little bit. What's like an actual example in the aquatics industry that this actually applies to?
Oh, I love that question. Yeah. I love the question because we're always trying to take the concepts of something and actually connect it to the real world perspective. So I would say from a results perspective, if you want to grow your business, you got to really take a look and see it. What I mean by that is not seeing what everybody else is not doing, but what more do I need to be doing to grow my business? If I think I'm going to approach things the way I've always done it, you're probably going to get the same results you've always had. So it's important to be able to step back and say, how do I grow my business? How do I invest in myself? Go get the education I need to be able to have better behaviors or better business acumen, then go out there and put an action plan together to actually get the results you want. Do you have any examples, Edgar, being in the business yourself?
I start to think of one, John, and I think it's probably one of the common ones. So in the pool industry, we've got a lot of amazing people, but it's very easy to get into the industry, right? There's not a lot of regulations. There's not a lot of that. What ends up happening is you do have a lot of people that probably don't have the business acumen. And so what they do is they just quote the same rates that they hear everybody else quote rather than what their business needs, right? Figuring that out. So I think one of the things, John, that I hear a lot is I hear a lot of the guys and some of the girls as well that they complain, everybody's just charging so low that I can't charge that higher rate, right? Like I can't charge $200, $300, $400. And that's one of the things that we talk about, and we talk about it with John and Zach all the time, right? You got Zach charging $300, you got Zach charging a VIP service, but you're talking about that, and it makes me think of that, and it's below the line. So that type of behavior is below the line behavior.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
So,
just making excuses and saying that I have no control. And so once you acknowledge that, it's like a dog chasing its tail. It's just exerting a lot of energy, but doesn't actually get the result and actually can't catch the tail. So then you ended up just working really hard and not smart. And so once you acknowledge that this is what my behavior is, you have to make a conscious choice and decision to rise above the line and do a little bit of work there. And when you do, you get the control back. And then you start seeing greater results. Yeah. And I would say one of the things that I want to make sure that when you look at all of this training that you guys are going to be offering, it's almost like a journey. I don't think what I love about is your approach. Your approach is in it. It's not a one and done. You're not going to take accountability and then boom, you're going to have this great business. But it's a woven kind of journey of first you need to understand there's other things like emotional intelligence that come to play. If you really are going to be accountable, you have to have some sort of EQ capability. And then you have to be able to give feedback and grow people's talents and grow people on your team and build that high performing team in order for you to get results.
Yeah, from like a customer perspective too.
Oh, absolutely.
It's good to be emotionally intelligent and know how your customers feel about things.
Absolutely. So I love the fact that you're actually having a journey of them taking this journey.
Yeah. And a lot of what we wanted to do is we wanted to create a lot of the training in a lot of places is you can go to these conferences and there's 50 classes and you can pick and choose. But a lot of times we get into that mindset that we try to pick things that we think that we might need or that we feel comfortable with because you're in an environment where you don't know people. It doesn't force you, but you pick the classes that you probably shouldn't be choosing to take. And so for us, it's been really important to create a curriculum and be able to do classes that continue to grow on top of each other. Now, you talked about something that struck me. And so you talked about whether there's a problem and then having to really sit down and figure out what that problem is, the why. Can you talk a little bit about that? And that's more for me than anybody else on the podcast. So what's that cycle like to?
Well, it's interesting. Many times whenever you pose a problem to a team, the first thing that you see is everybody starts like throwing out solutions. And then someone finds a solution they like, and then they start trying to put that plan together. But they still don't get the outcome they want. And that's because we spend more time throwing out solutions than stepping back and then looking at a full perspective of the problem. So Albert Einstein once said that if he was given an hour, he would spend 55 minutes focused on the questions and making sure that he's drilling down to the right questions to ask, because given the right question that he had, he'd only have 5 minutes to solve the problem. And I think we just want to make sure that the see it step is about stepping back first and looking at the data, looking at all the information you need. I guess the best way to say this is, if I said at the beginning of the year, I want to lose 10 pounds, then I'm going to do everything I can, right, to try to lose 10 pounds, except I don't change my diet. I don't make any conscious decisions. I'm going out there and buying anything different on a grocery store list. I'm just saying I want to lose 10 pounds. The see it step is about courage, that you have to step up on the scale And that takes a moment of courage to do that and look down and look at the number and say, it's not really 10 pounds, it's 40. It doesn't feel good. That see it step doesn't feel good, right? But once the reality is it's 40, now you have the information that you need to be able to take full ownership and be able to make decisions differently. So now you're at the solve it step. Now, the solve it step, just because I'm going to eat differently doesn't mean I'm going to lose my 40 pounds. You have to be diligent every single day, have a bad day, get back on it, and just keep your target in mind until you can lose that 40 pounds. So the solve it step's about what else can I do? I've been working for 6 months. I've only lost 20 pounds. And then you say, what else can I do? What else can I do is work out more, walk more. And then by the time you're done, you're going to lose that 40 pounds because the solve it step is about solutions, not about excuses. Does that make sense?
John, we're so going to tie this into the financial. So
it's all about financial.
I'm a numbers nut.
That's what
Money
it is.
Nation.
This is financial.
Money Nation.
Money
Nation.
Yeah.
Money Nation.
But John, I think about it, right? We talk about it all the time about knowing your numbers, and we talk about it that once people know their numbers, once they do the work and they truly know their numbers, and it's like you're saying, it's that hard process of, I really am afraid to know how much money I'm making. I think I'm making money, but am I not? And then once they truly know that number, I tell them, you will literally, it will change the way that you do business, right? It will impact you in a way that once you have that, you're going to make leaps and bounds because now you know that true number, but it's about obviously the accountability.
And it's not just about the business owner or the leader. It's about every single person that you've hired on your team to understand their role and responsibilities of driving those results too. One of the things I do with our company is I take you through an activity where we identify the 5 business outcomes you want financially. Sales, profit, you've got your customer service base, which drives the loyalty for your company, which drives the results, which drives the sales, right? But also you have that service aspect, that safety aspect for yourself and your team, that wellness you guys are talking about. It's all about the physical safety, but also psychological safety. So when you look at the 4th KPI, it's all around safety. And then the last one is all around associate engagement. Whoever you have on your team, you need your people to feel like they're being respected, valued, and that they bring something to the business. So we go through an activity where we have every single person in the company go to a flip chart. How do I drive sales in the work that I do? What are the activities that I do?
It doesn't matter what part of the job.
Does not matter what part of the company you are. Wherever you are, what is the activities I do to make money for the company? What is the activities I do that takes money away from the bottom line? And there's a lot of decisions. You're either an asset or a liability. Associates can take money by wasting product, wasting customer opportunity. And so we take you through this activity. And I don't want to tell you guys what this activity is, but let's just say if you've ever gone through a brainstorming session before, we're going to take you through a blame storming session where you can find yourself below the line in your own business. And that's all I'm going to say about that one.
Johnny boy, I don't know about you, but I'm over here, my hairs are just, and I'm like, inside, I'm like giddy.
Look, I'm here just trying to keep my mouth shut. There's so much I want to say and jump in on this because this is the type of stuff that really excites me and that I just love. Call me weird or whatever, but I've always been this way. I took psychology in school. I've always been fascinated with the human mind and what motivates people, what makes people tick, how to accomplish things in the right way, the wrong way, the most productive way. Just all that to me is very fascinating. And it's something that served me very well in my previous life, in my previous career. And I spent a lot of time myself doing a lot of these teachings and coaching and developing, and everything you're talking about to me and you're saying is like music to my ears because it's truly the way. And I'm going to try to keep this short, but I know you touched on one thing when you were talking about it earlier, and you said it all kind of revolves around culture, right? And I simplified a little bit even more, which goes hand in hand with culture, is humans, right?
Yeah.
And Nathan, you were talking about the same thing when it came down to what? Oh, Zach, when you were asking about how does this apply to the pool industry, and it's, well, because we all deal with humans. It's no secret. I don't care. And I've said this a million times. If you're in the pool industry, if you're in HVAC, if you're a seamstress, if you're working at Walmart, if you're at Summer Moon, whatever it may be, at some point you're bound to deal with a human or a human is involved.
Yep.
And these are life skills. And the stuff that you're talking about, Doreen, it is pure gold.
Gold.
It really is. And I hope people that are listening to this truly see the value in being able to sharpen these skills or to learn these skills and to be able to apply them, because it's something that can be taught. These aren't talents, these are skills. And we weren't taught this in school. And a lot of us haven't had the opportunity to learn about this stuff. And you being able to provide that and give that is just, I don't know, I just think it's amazing. And I think it's absolutely beautiful. And it goes down to what we talked about, Edgar and Zach. We all had a conversation and we said this, look, if we're all about education, not one of us know everything. I might know a lot about pools. I might know a lot about people, or I might know a little bit about this or a little bit about that. Edgar's thing might be the financials, might be the organization, and whatever it may be. Zach has his own set of skills as well. And nobody pretends to be a master at everything.
Right.
And in order for us as an organization or as Pool Nation to really say, hey, we're going to put our foot down and we want to be able to provide education to each and every pool pro out there and make it readily available for them so that they can better themselves as an individual, as a business owner, and even more importantly, as a human being. We can't offer all these things. And I preach this a million times, not offer them, but we can't do it ourselves.
Right.
So any great organization, I believe, is a strength-based organization,
Yes,
right? And I've
yes.
said this 1,000 times, where we have to be able to grip the mirror, look in that mirror and know what I'm great at and what I suck at.
Yep.
And some things that we just don't know, we're not pros at. We need to find those people. And people like yourself, Doreen, and we are blessed to have somebody like you who not only understands these topics and can teach them, but literally has created this. This is something that you do. This is your love and passion.
Yeah.
And then go, hey, look, it's not John or Edgar or Zach going up there and having these conversations or trying to teach this. We're going to find somebody who's 1,000 times better than us at this, right? Who wrote the book on it, and offer that class to you. And I hope you guys really take advantage of this, because this is a real deal, man.
It really is. It's really going to be
it's,
next level stuff.
John JJ Flawless, best spokesman in the world.
I am.
In the West, sorry.
I'm a believer, man. Look, it's
should
the one
change
thing
your
with
name.
me, and look, and especially all our partners, they know that too. If you guys have a product, or if you have something that I really love, I will be your biggest cheerleader in the world. You know?
This is
But
what he does. So when he gets excited about something, this is what he does. He's all in.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, everybody's like, oh, yeah, he's passionate about it, because it's just, he's all in.
No, he
I
speaks
am.
the language.
Yeah.
I can hear the language.
Yeah.
Everything
Yeah.
you say is exactly what we teach. And so that's why I'm actually really excited to be here, is because I know you get it and you understand this is how results happen. And at the end of the day, you had said that, I remember watching a podcast about your 3 fundamental principles. Is all about making sure your pool businesses, right, are financially successful.
Yep.
And I come from the mindset that we have to educate, we have to coach, we have to mentor. We don't have to train. Training to me is you train dogs to do tricks and skills, but education, coaching, I'm passionate about that, because at the end of the day, we want a better result for you, a better result for us. I love that you get it, John. I can tell.
Hey, guys, let's do this. Let's take a word from our sponsors.
Yeah.
When we come back, we will continue.
Sounds good.
The Hyper Pole from Ultimate Pool Tools is a pool care pole designed by pool professionals for pool professionals, featuring precision-crafted carbon fiber and stainless steel construction. Go to ultimatepooltools.com or Instagram at Ultimate Pool Tools. Pool pros have specific needs when it comes to general liability insurance. The SPPA program has you covered. With 3 tailored and customizable general liability options, SPPA makes it easy for pool pros to feel secure. Find out more and get covered at thesppa.com. Now available, Pool Invoice. Pool Invoice is a pool billing software created specifically for the pool service and repair industry. It's developed for our industry and only our industry. Pool Invoice is built with recurring billing in mind. You can print, email, text invoices, or even send via WhatsApp. You can add reoccurring or yearly charges, accept credits, and set up autopay. You can even see when customers have seen the invoice. It even has a customer portal where they can log in and see, print, and pay invoices. It has all your customers' information on one page, so you don't need to search through hundreds of invoices looking for the one you need. Just go to the customer profile and it's all at your fingertips. Created specifically for the pool industry, Pool Invoice. Now available at poolinvoice.com. Blu-ray XL is the power of minerals working for you. Reduce your overall chemical costs and labor up to 50% guaranteed. Whether you have 20 accounts or 20,000, Blu-ray XL's direct pricing and free shipping to the pool trade have you covered. Improving pool professionals' profit and work-life balance is what they do. Blu-ray XL, the real mineral purifier. Visit them at BluRayXL.com.
Blu-ray all day.
Aquastar's new pipeline cartridge filters, available in 2 sizes, deliver top-notch hydraulic efficiency along with best-in-class filtration performance, approaching that of DE filters. Uniquely designed, open pleat spacing means 100% of the media square footage is usable. And these claims are backed by NSF test results. Designed with the pro's time and comfort in mind, the patented double locking system improves safety and ease of access, making filter cleaners faster than ever before. Available now. Ask your supplier for pipeline filters today.
Natural Chemistry, a leader in specialty water care solutions for over 30 years, is proud to provide products that make pool service easier than ever before. Its unique enzyme formulations in Pro Series Pro Blend improve efficiency of your pool program while reducing frequency of filter cleaning and scum lines. Natural Chemistry is also well known for its wide variety of phosphate removal solutions that include a non-clouding formula in Phos-Free and extremely high-range removal with Pro Series Phos Remove or Phos-Free Max. Save time, save money, save work with Pro Series products. Stop sacrificing durability or efficiency with the help of Raypak's new Avia HD models that utilize NITEC, their exclusive industry-first technology. NITEC heat exchanger technology is Raypak's latest solution to superior strength and maximum efficiency when it comes to residential pool heating. With 900% more nickel compared to copper nickel in critical surfaces, NITEC creates an ideal surface to protect against scale formation and erosion without compromising on Avia's 84% thermal efficiency. Learn more at raypak.com/NITEC. The next evolution in lighting is here. Universal Color Logic 2.0 from Hayward. The latest in pool and spa lighting was designed with you in mind, making installation a breeze. Upgrades include a detachable cord and first-of-a-kind adjustable lower catch to overcome variations in plaster thickness. As always, Universal Color Logic lights retrofit into virtually any in-ground pool or spa while delivering industry-leading, vibrant color. Visit Hayward.com to discover more.
Hello, welcome back to the Pool Nation podcast. We're here with Edgar, Doreen, and John JJ Flawless, the best spokesman in the West.
They changed your title, John.
I'll take it.
I think it suits you better. You're a fast netter, but better spokesman.
As I get older, no.
The next question I have is about a class on emotional intelligence and like how that's effective in leadership. So what do you have to say about that class?
Yeah, this one's, again, there's so many of these ones that are just, for me, impactful, but specifically for the Women's Summit, this is the one that I think would be really beneficial, just like going off at the driving results or accountability session. Because when you think about the way that women have to manage and multitask, and there's so much that we have to do, at times we can just get emotionally triggered, right? We can have hot, short fuses and whatnot. What I love about the emotional intelligence for me is it's given me an opportunity to really define what IQ is. And IQ is this sense of knowledge and the ability to be able to make decisions. And sometimes if you're in that moment of emotional state, we don't always make the best decisions, whether we're men or women. But when I think about my husband, for example, Scott, I'm going to put you on the spot, but we go to bed and at night, he falls right to sleep, no care in the world. And as a woman, in my mind, I have all these things that I need to accomplish. My mind never shuts off. Emotional intelligence allows us to take the emotions that we're feeling and be self-aware. But not only aware for ourselves, aware about the experiences of emotional triggers that happen around us and be able to provide us some self-awareness and then again, self-management. So how do we manage those emotions in moments where we just get emotionally triggered? From any type of relationship you have, whether it be in your personal life, whether it be your professional life, it's important to have the social as well as self-management awareness when it comes to EQ. I also think from just a business perspective, everybody could benefit from emotional intelligence. If you're somebody who is willing to shoot straight and hit it hard from a feedback perspective, if you don't have empathetic capabilities and empathetic listening, you're not going to be able to have people in talent who's going to stay with you. So emotional intelligence really is something I think can benefit everybody. Yeah, it's one of my favorite stories. When you think about Steve Jobs, who had this just high IQ, people sit at the edge of their seats to see what he was going to come up with next. But if you really read his book, you'll find that Steve Jobs absolutely was not a good person to work for. And unfortunately, he lost his entire company because he had a high IQ and didn't see value in capabilities of even importance if you had from an emotional intelligence perspective. So in his book, he actually talks about losing his company was the best thing that ever happened to him, because when he lost it all, he had to make a choice on starting over again, but differently, completely differently. And he started at Pixar. And when he started at Pixar, he realized he needed to get to know his people. He needed to have kind of a self-management, if you will, of his emotions. He needed to react differently, take others' perspectives into account. And he says that those were the most innovative, creative times in his life. And that failure was the best thing that ever happened to him. Steve Jobs, I think, is just one example. I'm not going to name off the other ones you can think of, but can you think of a couple in society today that we can, obviously, when I ask the question, people start giving names that we all know. And
who would you say, Zach?
I know this guy, John JJ.
No.
Just kidding. I think JJ son. I think Elon Musk.
Yeah.
I was going to say,
I think
Elon
he's
is
the
probably...
classic. He's the classic example.
yeah, he's the classic example. That's the
Yeah.
second one everybody always issues. But there's a few of them out there that
Who
are
else? Who else?
Who else?
I'm not going to say it because it might start some brainstorm. Yeah, but that's a big one.
I was thinking a high IQ might make you rich, because Steve Jobs was a pretty wealthy person, but I don't think he was a very happy person,
I think
'Cause
that's key.
because he felt like he was doing everybody else dirty. I think he got the most rich out of all the people he worked for, right? So it's a trade-off.
Yeah, I think that's a really good call out. It actually talks about CEOs in businesses who have really low EQ capabilities and how they're lonely at the top because they don't have those connections, those relationships. People don't feel that they're approachable. And so when you think about just being successful, what does success really look like? It's about the connections you make. It's about happiness at the end of the day. That I tell Nathan all the time Zach. All I ever really care about for him is that he's happy at the end of the day and passionate about what he does and loves what he does. And money's not everything.
But I think as you get older, that changes even more, right? Like that
True.
sense of, I think you make it to a certain age and you want to feel like you've made a difference. And it's all about the relationships that you've made.
Yeah.
I did learn recently, and I'm going to do some research into it. It was actually was it Prosper High School graduation where the kid was talking about
Yes.
that you can only have a max of 150 relationships.
Yes.
And that was really impactful.
It
and I'm
was.
like, I actually need to do some research into that.
We just talked about that, actually.
Yeah.
I have got to look into it, too, and I haven't made the time yet. But that was an impactful speech.
That's one of those leftovers from us being in tribes, I think. Like you had real small tribes,
Evolutionary.
and then if they got too big, then they would just break off into another
Look
tribe.
at that.
should get a
even
spider
think
trap.
about-
It's back there. There's
Didn't
spider.
even think about that spider, but
Yeah.
that makes total sense.
It does. It does. The last thing I'll say about
Spider dropping the
EQ.
knot.
I know, right?
That was a gold,
Out of
gold
nowhere.
nugget.
Spider, can you speak a little bit more often, my friend?
Then they'll find out I'm really dumb.
Oh my God. That was a gold nugget, though.
Yeah.
The one thing I'll say about emotional intelligence I think is critically important is that we all have our IQ established for us at a very young age. And your IQ before you're out of high school. But with EQ, you never stop developing that over time. And so that's what's so great about being somebody with high EQ tendencies is you have the capability to be able to develop that and stretch it. So I'll say that accountability, emotional intelligence, those are the two right now classes that we offer at JCPenney that I always have a wait list. And for every time I facilitate one of those classes, I have 3 more people asking me to do 3 more. So it's just, I would say, don't miss out on those classes because not only, like John said, they're life-changing, but they're impactful for you to grow your business.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The lineup of speakers and topics for the Women's Summit is truly amazing.
Yeah.
That's what we're
And
getting
again,
online.
Look, I can go off on this for about 30 minutes as well.
There you go, Zach.
I was gonna say
Zach called it.
I was gonna make a
But
joke that next
I'm
time John
not.
starts talking, I'm gonna say there goes 30
Right.
minutes.
For real. And look, and again, it just brings me back to some of the conversations I've had with people over the years, people that have passed through my life and some people that are currently in my life, but more importantly, even my children. And I even tell my kids this. And it boils down to what you were saying, Doreen. It's you are the smartest dumb shit I've ever met in my life. It's like you are so brain smart and you get it, but you just don't get it. You know what I mean? You think you got it, but you don't got it. And that human aspect of it, that emotional consequence that your actions have on people, if you don't realize that or understand it, it makes life very difficult for you. And it's amazing how much easier you get through life, and not easier like, oh, it's so super easy, but you just find that things work out for you better because you actually listen to people, or that you actually, like you were talking about, view things in a different perspective, understand that their perception is their reality, just like your perception is your reality.
Yeah.
You got to figure this out, and there's more than one way to look at things. And like I said, these courses, and especially for the women, and I'm going to say this, we've talked about this, and we're a male-driven industry.
Right.
And we've been pushing and saying it from the very beginning. We want the more women that are in our industry, the better. My wife has been doing it from the very beginning, almost from the very beginning with us. And even with having me by her side, she still goes through the daily struggles, and she still has the worries, or she feels maybe sometimes out of place when she goes to events or when she talks to people, because she's afraid that she's going to come off not looking stupid, or maybe not saying the right thing, or people are going to judge her because she's a woman, or not going to listen to her. These types of skills, especially for women, are invaluable because men are simple for the most part. And if you can understand the emotional aspect of it, or the mental game of it, you put yourself in a position to where you can hopefully alleviate or avoid some of the pitfalls or some of the issues that you have to unfortunately face, because it's just a reality. And until we grow as a society, and until we become better as people, and I think we're well on the right track of doing it, this is an unfortunate thing that you just can't throw your head in the sand and pretend it doesn't exist. And as a woman, you should arm yourself with as much knowledge and better prepare yourself emotionally so that you can outshine and you can do well.
When it comes to emotional intelligence, it's not just about the women as well. I think the women in the business are going to open the minds and hearts of the men. That's going to have
100%.
a different perspective on the business that the women can bring that the men aren't even considering. I remember meeting your wife at the boot camp, and I remember doing the trainings and whatnot, and very quiet at first. And she came out of her shell. She was like, oh, this is exciting. This is something new. And I love it. But I would just say that emotional intelligence is something that people often just don't even think is important, but it will drive better business results in many ways. So excited about that one for sure.
At the Pool Nation Conference, we're going to be doing education a little bit differently. And we've spoken about this on the past lives and on previous podcasts. Instead of having a list of 30 courses or classes that you guys get to choose from or that you want to take, we're doing the education curriculum based. So on day one of the business classes, we want to focus on talent management, life cycle, and education is focused on that concept. Can you talk a little bit about that and explain what that is and why it's so important for businesses to focus on this?
Absolutely. When I started talking to Edgar about the talent life cycle, I got extremely excited. And how much time do we really have? This could go on for a while, but I'll try to keep it succinct. I will say, when people think of training, they think, oh, I heard about that Fierce Conversations training or that accountability training. I want to take that because they're trying to fill time and space. And what we need to understand is every type of training that we offer or education we have, it's not a check mark that you want to put next to your name. There's a woven kind of messaging throughout each one of the trainings that helps you get better, develop stronger leadership skills, and even just drive better business results. But when you think about hiring people, or if you think about running your business, there's a talent life cycle that you have to take into account when it comes to your people. First, you have to think about the first step, which is to first go out there and attract and recruit the right talent. Not just warm bodies out there, but someone who's going to drive the business. Because as I said, every single person you hire is going to have either be an asset to your company or a liability to your company. And you have to make sure that you're making the right hiring decisions. So we're going to take you through a session first on attracting and recruiting the right talent. And we'll do that through some interviewing skills, making sure that we are providing you role-playing about how to do behavioral-based interviewing skills so that you're actually hiring for the right competencies, hiring for the right talent that you need to have in place, whatever that looks like. And so the talent life cycle starts there. Once you recruit and you hire these people, you want to onboard them appropriately. So how many times do we just tell somebody to go do something and think we've trained them or grown them or developed them? No, there's a process to learning. So I always say, for those of you who have had to teach your children how to tie their shoes, you could just teach them and tell them once to go do it and they became proficient. You had to actually sit there down with them, get down at their level, not only tell them why it's important, but also show them, demonstrate, and then have them practice. And by doing that, they're going to gain proficiency over time. So onboarding is the same way. It's a journey, right, in the first 60, 90 days. Otherwise, you're going to lose that person and you just wasted money.
And I think as an industry, John, we're terrible at that. I think we're terrible at the training and the onboarding, and then that's why a lot of people leave.
Yeah, so I don't want to tell you all our tricks. I'll tell you that in that class, we're going to actually showcase a real world example we can all look at and say, we were telling and we thought we were training, and in actuality, we need to do a lot more. So we're going to actually take you through some of those steps of onboarding appropriately. And also, what is the cost associated with onboarding when you don't do it effectively? And that cost, when you think about it, is going to be that profitability line that we're going to talk about in the accountability class. Do you see how it all kind of weaves in there? But if you hire the right talent, then you have less turnover. Then you have driving greater results. You have people who are loving what they do. I mean, I look at Nathan right now. He started a job at Summer Moon, and he's loving it.
Summer Moon, baby.
Summer Moon. And what makes you love Summer Moon so much, Nathan? Just share. Well, Zach, but Nathan, share for the
Thank you. No, I'm Zach. I think the people is probably one of my favorite things because you just get to meet and learn about so many people. Mm-hmm. And also the management there is just, it's exceptional. I think he's like a paragon of like what a manager should be. His name is Caleb. He's really good.
But describe, what does he do from a leadership perspective
exactly,
that makes him be a paragon?
He makes sure that he hires people that actually want to barista and that actually know, I don't know how to say it, but like what you were describing, he has emotional intelligence and he analyzes other people's emotional intelligence and stuff like that. And he makes sure that it's not going to be a liability. It's going to be an asset to the company.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
I stopped in there today to actually get coffee, and he saw me and he came up and talked to me, and he was speaking my love language. When he talked about customer service and the need, he's, you know what, I don't want them coming in for a cup of coffee. You can get a cup of coffee anywhere. It's all about the environment. Isn't there some sort of an acronym he's just now started as a culture in your company? What was it called? Do you remember?
Yeah, it's all about being a host. It's about being hospitable and giving the customers an experience for how, not just giving them, not being transactional, not just giving them a cup of coffee, but actually making them feel welcome and like making it a whole environment. And yeah, so you have to be able to share that culture, right, in the onboarding process is my point. You have to have great leadership who are driving that culture. And so we're going to show that in the hire and onboard section of the talent lifecycle. Now, once you go through the hire and onboard, then it's all about, retaining your talent. It's about developing your people, not just teaching them skills, but also teaching them behaviors, those competencies that you want to drive your success for your business. And so developing, and then I think once they're developed, you can empower them to make decisions. You can make those decisions to drive greater results. And so develop and empower is a constant thing you have to keep doing, not training, but coaching, developing, giving performance feedback. Yeah, I'm going to say that especially applies to coffee shops. Like, you have to actually train people on how to do good customer service or make drinks correctly and stuff like that, right? Like,
and
you can't just give them the recipe
right?
and expect them to make it, right? Like, you have to walk them through it step by step and stuff like that.
Consistency of product, consistency of service. So developing and empowering is a cycle that continues beyond the whole talent life cycle, right? Once you develop and empower and continue to do that, you have to actually make sure that you're also recognizing. So this is, John, an activity for you real quick. So have you guys ever broken out recognition as far as a definition goes? I remember I had a boss one time who said, it was a VP of a company one day, and he said, I recognize people who are above and beyond. And if you walk on water, I'm going to recognize you. But if you don't walk in water, then you can get up or shape up or ship out. That was his mentality. And I thought, what a waste.
Yeah, it's kind of outdated.
A tool, of a leadership tool. So I want you guys to do me a favor. Take out a piece of paper and pen. Those people who are listening out there with your voices too, do the same thing. I always have a trick right there, Edgar.
Let's do it.
So let's do it. Let's take out a piece of paper and a pen. And I want you guys to go ahead and break up the word recognition into two parts. So the first part is R-E. The second part is cognition. Think for just a moment to yourselves, what is the definition of in your own words? What do you think the dictionary definition is? And don't go out there and search a dictionary. Just put in your own words. Yeah, don't cheat. What's the definition of
I have no idea. What is it?
I think it means to do again.
Yeah, do again.
Yeah, repeat.
Right, repeat.
Exactly. Good job there, Zach. It means to repeat or reinforce. Write that down. To repeat or reinforce. Now, what is the definition of cognition in your own minds?
Zach, you're on fire. Go.
Oh. You think of things.
Real close. It's your mind, right? So understanding, either understanding or knowledge is the definition. So let's just put that together for just a moment. You want to repeat or reinforce the knowledge and understanding. That is what the true definition of recognition is. And so when you think about it from a coaching and development perspective, I'm going to train you on how to do something. I'm going to help you to know how to do it. I'll have you demonstrate how to do it. I'll have you practice it. And then I'll step back and I'll ask you, what do you think you did well? What's one thing you can do differently next time to get better? I'm going to ask them what they did well so that they're thinking, they're connecting, they're conceptualizing what they learned. And then they get comfortable with feedback that way. And the whole purpose of recognition is to actually motivate them to do over and over again what you want them to continue to do, and then coach them what you don't want them to do. Does that make sense? So
100%.
Engaging and recognition is about doing that each and every day. So when you think about the NFL and coaches, they're not in the locker room saying, go play the game, we'll see at the end in the party or not. They're out there in the field calling the audible, calling the timeout, coaching in the moment, adjusting when necessary, being agile. That's true. That's true engagement, true recognition. Now, you want to go out there and reward people who drive great results. So if they've got someone who's a cross-sell or an upsell, then reward that. But if they just did a really great job in service, then recognize it. That's the point. Does that make sense?
That 100%.
All right. And then after that, if that just continues with the coaching and feedback piece, right? People are not comfortable with feedback. To John's point earlier, they're not comfortable with presenting, but they're not comfortable with feedback either, like getting it or giving it. And so there's going to be a class where we're going to talk about what is the difference between coaching and feedback. And we're going to give you some skills on number one, how to coach effectively. And then number two, how to give and how to receive feedback to a place where you can be vulnerable, but you can grow exponentially because of that. So how many of you guys have ever grown better because of feedback that you received that didn't feel good at the time, but you look back and say, because of that feedback, I was able to do more and achieve more? That's what we want people to understand, the power of feedback.
I must have taken one of your classes at some point, because my thought process with the whole feedback is I think it's very difficult for people to give you feedback. If I was to say, hey, can you tell me if I did this right, or did I handle this situation right? I think a lot of people are a little bit afraid of confrontation, and they're like, oh, no, you did good.
So it's been effective feedback.
Yeah. So my approach has always been, don't tell me what I did well, tell me what I didn't do well. And I think when I use that approach, that puts the person in a comfortable spot to be able to go, oh, okay. And then they give that feedback.
So I'll take it one step further. I call that focus feedback. So most times you do something and you walk over to someone and say, so how do you think I did? Do you have feedback for me? Instead of saying that, I walk in and say, so I just finished that training class. Can you tell me one thing I did well? And what's one thing I can do differently next time to get better? That's focus feedback. What did I do to reinforce the positive, that recognition piece? And now tell me what more I can do moving forward. So that's called the balanced feedback approach. Now, let me make it clear. It's not the sandwich approach. A lot of people think of the sandwich approach and they think, oh, I want to make you feel good. And then I'm going to hit you really hard. I want to make you feel good again, right? That sandwich approach is ineffective because the meat is lost in all the minutia of the feel good, right? And plus, going back to the human perspective, right? We aren't listening to the good because we're waiting for the bad to hit us. And so I'm not even listening to the good stuff because I know that I'm bracing myself for the worst. Does that make sense?
I was going to say that's very true.
Yeah.
I've done that several times.
Yeah.
Just tune it out.
So we'll talk about the emotional triggers. Just using the word feedback and what should you do instead. Again, notice how I don't give feedback to the person. I ask them first, what could they do differently next time? And then I even ask for peers to give feedback. So what did they do? What's one thing you would suggest that they can do differently next time? And then I, as the leader or the trainer or the boss, whatever you want to call it, the coach, would then give the feedback afterwards because I know exactly what needs to happen, where they should be focusing their attention. So I go one step further.
1,000,000%. And look, I just want to step in and say something. Whenever it came down to like doing performance reviews or giving any type of feedback or holding people accountable, it's always a very uncomfortable situation for anybody. But you nailed it right on the head. And I would sit down and we would talk. And when we had a conversation, it would be, okay, so what do you think you do? Or what do you do? And what do you think your biggest opportunities are? Yeah. And throw the ball in their court, because you'll find out we are our toughest critics sometimes.
Yep.
And you will be harder on yourself. Probably you'll find out they'll be harder on themselves than you would have been on them. And it's not quite so much. So then you can build them up from there. And then then you take it even a step further and go, what would you do? Or what do you think we need to do? Or what should you do to improve? Yeah. And what steps do we need to take? And then what that creates is buy-in and ownership.
Yes.
Right? Because now it's their idea and it's not you putting your hand down telling them, hey, look, you're the one that did this wrong. This is what you need to do. You're not walking on water or whatever, like they say. Okay. And then if it doesn't happen, or a couple ways it can go is one, if they can't critique themselves, then you need to grip the mirror and go, I've done a shitty job as a leader. Because I haven't conveyed this and I've waited a year to talk to this person, or I've waited till after this to talk to them, instead of giving them this feedback continuously throughout the year so they understand what their weaknesses are, so it doesn't surprise them at the very end. You know what I mean? And then you can learn as yourself, oh, I need to do better. But more importantly, when you find out that they are self-critical on themselves and they're going to go, hey, I need to do this, and they come up with a plan, then it's easy to hold people accountable to it, because it's like, dude, we talked about this. You came up with this. You said this is what needed to happen. And I'm just saying, okay, I'm agreeing with you, and let's roll with it. So you'll find it's these little tricks and like that, and understanding people in the psyche, that you'll be able to move mountains this way. You know,
to that point,
comes down to
talent life cycle, right? Exactly what you're saying. It makes the performance process easier. If you go through the whole talent life cycle and you get to evaluate performance, because you've been out there inspecting what you expect, you've been coaching, you've been providing feedback, you're holding people accountable to the results you want to see in your business. By the time you get to the evaluation of performance, that is no longer a scary situation. You're armed with the information you need, where it's no longer an HR form that you fill out because HR told you to do, but it's actually going to get greater results. And then you're going to see people are going to develop over time to their next level, their next capability, whether that be promotability or even just breadth of the business. You can actually cross-utilize them in other areas of the business because they have more capabilities. So that would be the last step of the talent lifecycle we're going to cover, is performance appraisals. And I'll tell you, you have to own that performance appraisal. Don't wait for somebody to tell you what your performance looks like. I remember back in like year 10, I was sitting down with the same manager who was giving me my performance review. And that performance review, I knew, was a copy of the 3-year performance appraisal I had before. Now, that same person was also a friend, and he would complain about this other director and say what they weren't doing right. And so I knew that performance appraisal was going to be the next meeting. And I knew wholeheartedly that person was going to get an hour of my leader's time telling him all the things he should be doing differently. But I was being taken for granted. So he hands me my performance review. He didn't even tell me what I did. He just said, why don't you take a look at it? And you know the process. Why don't you just read through it and let me know what your thoughts are? And the old Doreen would say, oh, it looks great. Thank you. And I'd walk away disappointed. But in that moment, for whatever reason, he said, any questions? Probably the wrong thing to ask me in that moment. And I said, actually, I'm looking at it. And to be honest with you, I don't see where I'm going to grow or develop any more this year coming up. And so I really don't know what my goals are. I don't understand. It's the same copy from last year. And he looked at me pretty offended at first. And I said, not to offend you or anything, but I honestly feel like I want to grow exponentially. And I know that you're going to bring Mario in a few minutes and you're going to give him all this great feedback and he's going to know what to do differently. I really want to just have that conversation. And it doesn't have to be now. And he looked at me and said, give me your performance appraisal back. And I thought, oh, I just pissed him off and I'm going to be out of a job. And I remember him looking at it and he had his papers and he's flipping around. It's exactly what I did. You're the easy one. So I just copied the review from last year and thought you'll be happy and printed it out and handed it to you with a new date. And he said, but let me do this. Let me just go back to square one. Let me think through this and I'll get you some solid goals for sure. And let's meet in the next couple of days. And I said, that'd be great. And he gave me some hefty goals. And years later, he would call me back and he would say things like, so I'm doing my performance appraisals, just so you know, and I'm going to see if it really checks off the Doreen mark. Is Doreen going to accept this type of performance appraisal? And I put more effort behind it. So I got to manage up that day. And he did better performance appraisals. He did his job, basically. So I say you have to own your own performance and your own development as well. And we're going to actually talk about that a lot in that part of the talent life cycle session. So that will wrap you up. And I'll just say the talent life cycle continues. It never ends. So it's not like a 1 year. There's something called talent planning and succession planning that you can continue that cycle over and over again until people develop to their next level every single year. Does that answer your question, John?
That was perfect. That was awesome. And again, that story was just amazing. I had a similar situation with one of my managers when I sat down and he hit me with, okay, what my issue or what are some of the things that I can work on? And he hit me with something. I'm not going to really discuss it, but
discuss it. Discuss it.
We got time.
I'm messing with you, John.
And I flat out told him, I go, boss, I'm a little upset. And he's like, why? And I go, why is this the first time I'm ever hearing of this? If this has been an issue, and nothing big, something really simple and stupid, but to me, I always want to do the best in whatever I do, and I want to be great at it. And I told him, I go, look, dude, I go, for a year, if you could have told me this, I could have fixed this, right? Immediately, I could have made this change, and then we wouldn't have had this issue. And I go, where's the breakdown between our communication? Why haven't you told me? It turned into a review where it's moving forward. Please take the time, because I'm not doing this for nothing. I'm not just clocking in and clocking out and collecting a paycheck. I want to grow with the company, and anything that I do that prohibits me or that slows me down, I want to rectify, right? I want to change. I want to do better. And it was an eye-opening experience for him as well. And we sat down and we spoke, and it was, ever since then, it became like it completely changed our relationship. I was able to grow much faster in my company simply because we had an open line of communication. And again, it's hard. It really is hard to constantly give feedback. And even myself, with employees that I have currently and from the past too, sometimes you find yourself and go, should I say something or shouldn't I say something? And if you find yourself ever in that position, it's usually because you either get the wrong outcome anytime you do approach somebody. And 9 out of 10 times, it's because of the way you're approaching them about it, right? It's not necessarily that they aren't receptive to the feedback or they don't want to do well. The majority of people that are working and are out there in life, they want to do well. They want to be recognized. They want attaboys and high fives, right? They want to see that. And when they don't get it right, that's when they start to feel like they're not worth it. They feel like they're not being valued, or they feel like they're being attacked, or that you're always on their ass, or whatever it may be. And it's the majority of the time, it's you as a leader, as a manager, as somebody they look up to, or whatever it may be, a parent, that it's just the way you're approaching them. And there's more than one way to get to that path. So, all this stuff is like giving me like flashbacks from back in the day. And I think this is, and you're hitting on a lot of keywords too, that in my mind, I remember, and I'm even more excited. I was so excited at the very beginning, and now I'm like super, super excited. I wish I was there right now, picking your brain on the way out to the parking lot, talking a little bit more about it, but this is going to be good stuff.
I'm trying to hold back because there's so much. There's so
It's a
much.
lot.
I just will end with this. Honestly, I will just end with, there's so much more we're going to give you, the details, the examples, but more importantly, the skills practice. Because I think you got to be able
That's
to get
key.
out there in a very safe environment, have some group discussions, talk through it, conceptualize, connect to it, and then practice it. So I'm holding back a lot, but I will say, to summarize it all up, why it's so important to go through the talent life cycle. You keep talking about it, John. This is so important. The business part is so important. You can either be a transactional leader or somebody out there transacting the customer. You're never going to be successful in doing that. So the talent life cycle and all the development that we can give you in the coaching and mentorship will make you a more transformational leader. And being a transformational leader and having people on your team who are there along that journey, who bring value to that, you're all going to be successful together with a better result. So that's really where I want to make sure you guys understand, is you will gain skills to be transformational.
Absolutely. Love it.
Let's wrap it up. That was it. That's perfect. You want to end it on that, right?
All right. That was the
Better than
podcast. Goodbye, everyone.
Yeah. Let's hit final commercial and let's wrap that up.
The Hyper Pole from Ultimate Pool Tools is a pool care pole designed by pool professionals for pool professionals, featuring precision-crafted carbon fiber and stainless steel construction. Go to ultimatepooltools.com or Instagram at Ultimate Pool Tools. Pool pros have specific needs when it comes to general liability insurance. The SPPA program has you covered. With 3 tailored and customizable general liability options, SPPA makes it easy for pool pros to feel secure. Find out more and get covered at thesppa.com. Now available, Pool Invoice. Pool Invoice is a pool billing software created specifically for the pool service and repair industry. It's developed for our industry and only our industry. Pool Invoice is built with recurring billing in mind. You can print, email, text invoices, or even send via WhatsApp. You can add recurring or yearly charges, accept credits, and set up autopay. You can even see when customers have seen the invoice. It even has a customer portal where they can log in and see, print, and pay invoices. It has all your customers' information on one page, so you don't need to search through hundreds of invoices looking for the one you need. Just go to the customer profile and it's all at your fingertips. Created specifically for the pool industry, Pool Invoice. Now available at poolinvoice.com. Blu-ray XL is the power of minerals working for you. Reduce your overall chemical costs and labor up to 50% guaranteed. Whether you have 20 accounts or 20,000, Blu-ray XL's direct pricing and free shipping to the pool trade have you covered. Improving pool professionals' profit and work-life balance is what they do. Blu-ray XL, the real mineral purifier. Visit them at BluRayXL.com.
Blu-ray all day.
Aquastar's new pipeline cartridge filters, available in 2 sizes, deliver top-notch hydraulic efficiency along with best-in-class filtration performance, approaching that of DE filters. Uniquely designed, open pleat spacing means 100% of the media square footage is usable. And these claims are backed by NSF test results. Designed with the pro's time and comfort in mind, the patented double-locking system improves safety and ease of access, making filter cleaners faster than ever before. Available now. Ask your supplier for pipeline filters today.
Natural Chemistry, a leader in specialty water care solutions for over 30 years, is proud to provide products that make pool service easier than ever before. Its unique enzyme formulations in Pro Series Pro Blend improve efficiency of your pool program while reducing frequency of filter cleaning and scum lines. Natural Chemistry is also well known for its wide variety of phosphate removal solutions that include a non-clouding formula in Phos-Free and extremely high-range removal with Pro Series Phos Remove or Phos Free Max. Save time, save money, save work with Pro Series products. Stop sacrificing durability or efficiency with the help of Raypak's new Avia HD models that utilize NITEC, their exclusive industry-first technology. NITEC heat exchanger technology is Raypak's latest solution to superior strength and maximum efficiency when it comes to residential pool heating. With 900% more nickel compared to copper nickel in critical surfaces, NITEC creates an ideal surface to protect against scale formation and erosion without compromising on Avia's 84% thermal efficiency. Learn more at raypak.com/NITEC. The next evolution in lighting is here. Universal Color Logic 2.0 from Hayward. The latest in pool and spa lighting was designed with you in mind, making installation a breeze. Upgrades include a detachable cord and first-of-a-kind adjustable lower catch to overcome variations in plaster thickness. As always, Universal Color Logic lights retrofit into virtually any in-ground pool or spa while delivering industry-leading, vibrant color. Visit Hayward.com to discover more.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Pool Nation Live podcast. We are here with Doreen, Zach/Nathan.
Zach the pool boy.
Zach the pool boy.
And then you have the... Yeah. I forgot to do that last time.
And Mr. JJ Flawless all the way out in La Quinta. John, what's the temperature right now in La Quinta? I'm going to say don't tell me. I'm going to say it is, what time is it there? It is 8 o'clock. I'm going to say it's still about 101. What do you say, Nathan? Wait.
I'm going to say, who's Nathan? Zach? I'm going to say,
Zach,
I'm going to say 10.
You're going to say 103, 103, just one more than mine?
I was going to actually say 103.
Yeah, whatever. Doreen, what do you think it's at?
I think it's higher. I think it's 105.
105?
I'm going 78.
No way.
No way.
You're funny.
It's only 96.
Oh,
right
96.
Now. Yeah,
Oh,
I guess
96.
Spider.
All right.
I almost said 98, but I won anyways because I was with the lowest.
It's 96 because the wind started. The high pressure, and it's either one or the other. It's either when it's really hot, we're blessed because we don't have wind and we're begging for a breeze, right? And then when it starts to cool down, it's when the wind comes, right? And then it comes from the north, and then here comes the wind and cools us down a little bit. So tomorrow's not going to be as hot as it was the last couple of days, but usually at night, though, in the middle of summer, At night, it's 100 degrees.
Oh,
It doesn't matter.
brutal,
Yeah.
brutal.
2 o'clock in the morning, you're out there, it's 102 degrees. It's ridiculous.
We were close.
Let's see here. So Michael is saying, I can't wait for Doreen's next class at the Pool Nation conference. And then they have not. Todd is saying it's golf temperature. Todd, anything is golf temperature for you, bro. Like, it could be 300 degrees and he's like, golf temperature, I'm going. That Michael has not had summer moon yet. You know what? Instead of final thoughts today, John, can we skip final thoughts?
We're skipping final thoughts?
I'm going to say something.
Okay.
I need to say something.
Okay.
I know we're running out of time.
So you go first, and then we'll let Zach go last this time. Go.
Okay, so I'm going to say this really quick, and I don't say this very often where I'm actually demanding it, but I'm serious when I'm telling everybody out here listening, whether you're listening to it live, you're going to listen to it on Monday when it drops, or you're going to hear it a couple weeks down, whatever it may be. If you're serious about education, if you're serious about bettering yourself in your business, and not just your business, but your personal life and life in general, don't miss this opportunity. Unless you have the ability to be able to take courses or classes like this somewhere locally, then by all means do what you need to do. But I'm tired of hearing the excuses of, I can't make it because of this or that or whatever it may be. There's a time and a place where every choice in our life, we have to weigh out the pros and the cons, right? And I just want to beat it into your heads right now that you just might be ignorant and just don't understand the importance of this just yet because you haven't experienced a class like this. And I hope that what Doreen spoke about today and just the little bits of nuggets you heard from her inspired you or got you to a point where you go, hey, look, maybe a light bulb, or you had an epiphany and said, hey, look, maybe this is important. And it's not about going to only learn about technical courses or whatever it may be, or you think that you've done it all before because you've been to heater classes or water chemistry classes and all that. We're going to have all that wonderful stuff for you, and we're going to try to do it the best as possible and try to give you an experience that you haven't had before when it comes down to those technical courses and those hands-on classes. But I promise you, there's nothing like this in the industry when it comes down to the business portion of it. And if you just need to come down to take the business classes, by all means, do whatever you can. As long as you have the means, as long as you're healthy enough, I promise you it'll be worth it. Take the time off, skip a vacation if you have to, because we all take vacations during the year. This is the type of stuff that will change your life. So do what you got to do. Save the dates, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, the days of the show. Do what you have to do. Go out there and take these courses. I promise you, you will not be disappointed, and you will walk away with tangible, real life information, and you're going to start to develop those skills, right? And you are going to become a better person, a better man, a better woman, a better father, a better mother, whatever the hell you want to call it, a better human being. And I promise you, you're going to be able to make more money. You're going to do better for yourselves in the future if you take this seriously and you work on the things that Doreen is going to be teaching you and all the other wonderful instructors that we have in store for you.
It'll literally change your life.
Yeah, it will change your life.
And here's the thing, I'm going to double down on that, John, is to a lot of those that call and have the conversations and are always asking for the help. We're about taking every call. We're about helping you out as much as we can. But there comes a point where we have to tell you,
you got to help yourself.
You have to help yourself. If you're calling me, you're asking me for all this help, you're doing all that, and I'm like, look, I'm taking your feedback and we're creating a class for that. You can't come and tell me, oh, I can't because of business or I can't because of this. At some point, like John was saying, you have to double down and you got to figure it out and you got to come out and you just have to do it. But you can't just keep going, I need help, I need help, I need help.
Help us,
and
help
then not come out and take it because of, oh, business or I don't have somebody to watch the kids. And that, I think, falls below the line behavior.
It does fall below. And I'll say,
how'd you like that, John?
We're going to teach you how to fish so you can feed yourself.
Yeah.
That's what the whole point of it.
Absolutely.
And it's not just, I'm just one facilitator. I'm looking at the lineup here. I'm going to sneak into a couple of these myself, just so you all know. Like, this is what I do for a living, but you can always develop yourself. And that's what I plan to do here. So just so you know, I might be sneaking into some of these.
Practice what you teach.
That's exactly right.
So with that said, John, thank you for that. We're going to close the night with Zach's final thoughts.
I think one of the most important things that you do is make sure that you apply yourself to be a better human. I think, like you said, it's easy to get in the victim cycle kind of thing where there's always something that's not right or there's always something that's wrong. But if you're serious about like improving yourself and growing and developing, I think if you apply yourself and you recognize that you need to actually, it's not easy to grow and develop. You recognize that, which kind of ties in with the recognition thing.
and it's work, right? Like,
Yeah, it's hard work.
All these things are hard work. And on top of having to go do pools and repairs and manage your people and do the finance, it's work. And if you're going to take your business to the next level, guess what?
It's not going to be handed to you. Yeah.
And
exactly.
we're also going to have fun doing it. We're going to have fun. We're going to get out there, work a little harder, but also get a lot smarter. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. So final comments on here tonight. Let's see here. Michael was going, whoa, skipping final thoughts. We didn't. John didn't have to skip final thoughts. Good job, John.
Good final thought, though.
Yeah, that was a great final thought. I'm glad we didn't skip that one, John. You do not, in all caps, want to miss Doreen's class, period. That was Todd Pieri. And then education and knowledge should be a top priority for your business. I put education over my pools, and my customers are completely fine with that since it'll be used to level up how I service their pools. Anyways, and then Trip is saying pools for life, aquatics for life. So anyways, Doreen, thank you so much for coming down. Nathan, Scott, he's been a sport. He's over in the other corner. We should have mic'd him up.
I know.
Is what we should have done.
Next time.
Do you want to come over and give final thoughts? You're good?
Come on.
He worked a double.
Give some final thoughts.
What's that, Spider? That mic's on? Pull that mic right there.
Come on.
Pull that mic right there. We're going to have Scott give final thoughts,
He's
John.
funny sounding. I'm just kidding.
All right, I'll make it quick. You guys can hear me? Okay.
Perfectly, yeah.
All right, my thought with all this was I've been to a lot of places in my job, and Doreen was talking about Steve Jobs, all these super CEOs that you were mentioning. Warren Buffett wasn't mentioned, but I can tell you, and I've been to several of the Berkshire Hathaway events in Omaha, Nebraska. There's a reason why 50,000 people show up to see Warren Buffett. He has EQ. He has emotional intelligence. He's able to connect with people. They want to hear him talk about stock picks and his company and all the companies they own, Dairy Queen and Brooks Running Shoes, et cetera. But they want to hear Warren Buffett because he can connect with people.
Yeah.
And so he's an example of someone who has successfully figured out how do you connect. And I think of all the things I've heard sitting here on the couch, unmiked most of the night, the ability to connect with people is key in your business. And it's learning how to connect because we're not all connectors, right? I'm more introverted.
Like me, I'm also an introvert, huge introvert.
Yeah, and you know, and if you're a business owner, most people are probably extroverts, but some of you are introverts. You're technical people who know how to fix pumps and wire new systems and work on the technical side of pools. But the other side of running your business is the things that have been talked about tonight, and that's where you can really add the rocket fuel to the ship and excel and get to that next level.
Wow, I'm glad we asked him to speak up. That was pretty phenomenal.
Damn, he just dropped some gold right there, right at the end of the night. That's how we close the podcast
I
tonight.
think that's how we close.
Which is true, by the way, about Warren Buffett. It's true.
He's actually
Like,
in the EQ class. I just didn't want to give all my gifts away.
No, but he dropped it. He dropped some gold right there. So, anyways, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, everybody. John, thank you so much. We'll catch you, everybody, next Wednesday on the Instagram Live. Yeah.
Last thing.
Yep.
If you ever come to Texas, go to the Salina Summer Moon. I highly recommend it.
I love it.
Highly recommend it.
Here's what we're going to do.
Shameless plug.
The Salina is the best one. I'm just saying, not to get competitive.
How'd you like that one, John? And I didn't tell him to do that. He did it on his own.
Businessman.
Yeah, he's a businessman.
Yeah.
So you know what we're going to have to do now is drive everybody up to Salina to the
Get a
Summer
giant tour
Moon
bus.
to kind of bring them and give them the experience, John. So anyways, thank you so much. Hey, everybody online, have a great... And by the way, Michael is now saying over here, you got it. I'll be there.
Michael, I will make your drink especially for you.
There you go.
Just tell me you were on the podcast.
There you go. All right, everybody. Hope you have a great night. Catch us next Wednesday. Have a good one. Spider, catch you on the other side.
Thanks for listening to the Pool Nation podcast, a member of the Pool Nation family. You can listen to us live every Friday here at 9 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Central, and 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. You can find us at Pool Nation or PoolNationPodcast.com, on Facebook, or on Instagram at Pool.Nation. And to find more info about Pool Invoice, the billing software built specifically for the pool industry, go to PoolInvoice.com. Before you go, this is what the pool industry has been waiting for. PoolManUniversity.com. It's the first platform dedicated to learning the swimming pool service and repair industry. A pool service community where you can connect and find videos on business, service, water chemistry, and repairs. See you there at PoolManUniversity.com.